The Effects of Cyber Attacks on United States Banks and Financial Institutions in the Economy by Brittany Brewer. So my introduction is cybercrime creates 100 billion annual loss to the US economy as many as 508,000 lost jobs as a result. This is according to a 2013 study by Center for Strategic and International Studies. Cyber attacks on United States banks and financial institutions are costing a great amount of money and time and can eventually hurt the economy if they are not stopped. That is what I am going to talk about today. Cyber attacks are defined as an attempt to damage, disrupt, or gain unauthorized access to a computer system, or electronic communications network. Who is doing the cyber attacks? So, criminals. And their motive is to gain or steal funds or to steal someone's identity and personal information. So, identity theft, basically just trying to gain money. And then we have hacktivists, hackers that commit cyber attacks for politically motivated reasons. The hacktivists use attack systems and architects using legal and illegal tools to perform their operation of protest, such as denial of service attacks, information theft, and data breach, and website defacement, typo squatting, and other methods of digital sabotage. This is according to Perluigi Pagani. Another group that is committing cyber attacks is an Islamic group that is Aden al Qassam cyber fighters. It is part of the hacktivist type of group. It's an Operation Ababil, which was the 2012 denial of service attacks. The motive for the attack was to remove the innocence of Muslims off of YouTube and online, which was an insult against the Prophet Muhammad. United States banks were not prepared for this attack, and it caused the bank's websites that were affected to become inactive for some period. Now I will discuss what are the different type of attacks. So denial of service attacks, or DOS. It's when a hacker uses one computer to send malicious traffic to disrupt a network server. The volume of the traffic is usually so overwhelming that it makes the website too slow to use. It basically shuts down the website and server so no one can gain access to it until the traffic is able to be deflected. It does not hurt the bank, it is merely just an inconvenience. One of the biggest denial of service attacks that affected many of the major United States banks was the DOS attacks of 2012. According to CNN Money, it was recorded as the biggest cyber attacks in history at the time. These DOS attacks affected U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, J.P. Morgan, Chase, PNC Bank, and Bank of America. Now we'll move on to point of sale attacks, POS attacks, or they can be called flash attacks. So this is when hackers steal debit and credit card information from ATMs or cash registers. They make small transactions, purchases multiple times. They can steal lots of money going unnoticed. Once the card information is stolen, they can make duplicate cards. This can also happen at like a gas station, pump, anywhere that you swipe your card. So a restaurant, card reader, anywhere that your card is using some type of machine. The next attack is phishing. This is when hackers send malicious emails that look like they are sent from the bank. Once they open, they ask for sensitive information, card numbers, to gain access and steal account information. So the next attack I will talk about is watering hole attacks. This is similar to phishing, but instead of emails, the hackers put a malicious code on public websites and wait for customers to visit them. They can steal the information this way. It's very hard to detect the code that's put into these public websites. The next one is farming and card redirection. Farming is when hackers are able to steal a bank's URL. So when customers go to the website, they can instantly be redirected to a fake site that looks exactly like the bank's actual website. So of course, when they put their information in, the information is stolen. There's also a card redirection website, which is basically the same thing. The hackers steal a payment processing URL, change maybe a letter in the URL so that once you put the card information in and it's sent, and is sending it to the new site. For example, payment handling was altered to replace ever occurrence of paymentexpress.com for payment I express.com. So just adding that I changed the website, of course, and it was redirected there and the information was stolen. So when, where, and why? So where are cyber attacks happening? They're happening online. So websites, such as denial of service attacks, car redirection, or farming, those are all happening online. It can happen at ATMs, gas pumps, registers. These are point of sale attacks that can happen at cash registers, restaurants. Emails. So for phishing attacks, those of course affect the emails. So when did cyber attacks start? It's happening within the last 10 years. They're more frequent as technology progresses. 2012 was one of the first countrywide known attacks. And why are these cyber attacks happening? For the DDoS attacks, their reason was to send out a message. So hacktivist attacks are to promote get some type of awareness out. When criminals do it, it's usually to steal or to gain access to information, steal money, steal some type of information for their own personal needs. So my last slide is about the effects of U.S. banks and financial institutions on the actual economy. Here I have a quote from David Wood. He stated the White House 2000 Executive Order 13636 entitled Improving Critical Infrastructure Cybersecurity and the National Institute of Standards and Technologies risk modeling framework designed to help companies assess and set their risk tolerance for cyber attacks. These reports imagine an attack on the power grid that shuts down big money center banks, stopping all interbank transactions and bringing the American economy and quite possibly the global economy to a abrupt halt. So, what can we do, or what can banks do? They have a need for better insurance. So, cyber liability insurance is something that they are covered. They need so they are covered against incoming cyber attacks. There's two different types. There's first party coverage, which pays the bank for the cost and loss of money. This policy covers crisis management loss, breach remediation, notification costs, cyber extortion, etc. Third party coverage is usually used when there is a lawsuit from a customer or third party. This insurance policy covers network security, privacy, and media liability. The premiums range from $5,000 to $20,000 per $1 million of coverage. Okay, so the next need is for better defense. So providing data security. This means bank needs to create roles in the company that do risk management for cyber attacks and crimes. They need to hire chief risk officers and chief risk experts. Hiring a top-notch chief security officer, implementing ironclad processes around breach avoidance, response, and purchasing the newest network security solutions will definitely put the bank at a decreased risk of attack. They need to train their employees on how to better identify cyber attacks and how to deal with them. Banks basically need to create a team that knows what to do and how to manage these attacks quickly and effectively. Lastly, there's the loss of money. Studies have shown the loss of money to cyber attacks is $100 billion annually. Banks are also losing money because they have to pay salaries to the risk management and data security teams. They have to hire in a more abundance because of the higher risk of threats. They have to pay more to someone to come in and train their new employees on cyber attack awareness. They also have to pay the higher premiums for their insurance coverage. So in the end, cyber attacks could possibly drastically hurt the economy in the future if they are not prevented, and the United States banks have to stay prepared to not be financially hurt in a major way.